Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 101 of the Pokemon Snapshot. Josh, we are back.
We're back.
I know. So I'm just gonna throw this out because this will be what's on the podcast feed. We did a recording that was about 5 minutes, and then Josh's internet went out. So if you're watching us on Twitch, which we are doing for the first time, or YouTube, we are new at this, but hopefully this time we will stay all together. And
Look, I live in Alabama. Wi-Fi, we only got Wi-Fi in the past like 3 years, so it may go out a couple times during the episode.
I saw it. Josh was running around with his antenna out in the yard trying to catch the Wi-Fi.
The dogs with like foil, like tin foil on their ears, going out trying to move around to get the best signal.
So we are working through all the kinks for this first time, but we are so excited to be back.
Jeff, how long has it been since our last episode?
2 years, 3 months. I think our last episode was in either August or September of 2023. A lot has happened since then.
I can't believe it's been over 2 years. It seems like yesterday. It seems like 10 years ago. Time is weird. I have no concept of time.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And people have been asking us to come back, and as I said, we're so excited to be back. We're excited to do this. We're excited to start something new with our live streaming and putting episodes up on YouTube so that you can watch them there as well for people who'd rather have a video format. And for those of you who don't know us, you now know what our beautiful faces look like.
Isn't Jeff just the prettiest thing you've ever seen? Joe, how many listens were we still getting in the 2 years that we
Uh, we were averaging about 2,500 a month, so I would like to put my heartfelt thanks out to the fans. So this is kind of funny. When we got our Spotify for creators like Wrapped, they give you the Spotify Wrapped. If you have a podcast through their system, they also give you one about your podcast. It'll tell you like who your liked fans are and all that. And it told me the most used emoji in comments on our videos was the crying emoji.
Wait, crying sad or crying laughing?
Crying sad. Yeah. So you guys missed us and made us
Yeah.
feel loved.
Yeah, it's super cool that we've had so many listens in the 2 years we've been gone. Didn't know if we were gonna come back or not. I always had a feeling we would eventually come back, but I just wanna say it was pretty much my fault that we stopped in the first place. I was just at that time, I had a lot on my plate and I needed to, I had to clean the table off a little bit. But I'm back. I'm feeling great. I'm excited about the show and I can't wait for this episode and however many there are to come.
I know, me too. So how about we get into it? So, usually first we have our free talk, what we've been doing. We're not going to go big on this episode. This is going to be kind of, as Josh said in our Discord, a Gigantamax episode because this is the longest script Josh and I have ever put together. And
Get ready, folks.
We don't even have much for the non-episode parts. To be fair, we have not announced what we are doing. So before we even get any of that, I will say we are not doing the next Pokemon episode. We decided to do something special. So today we are going to be watching Pokemon the Movie I Choose You, which was kind of a alternate timeline Ash. So it didn't fit in with our chronology or timeline anyway. So we thought it was a perfect episode to come back with to kind of see a different Ash. Well, same Ash, as you will see as we get into it, but just the different timeline.
He's still the worst.
So we are excited to get into that. So I guess we will talk more about what we've been up to in our next episodes when we're back to the regular episodes, just because for time's sakes, and I'm excited to talk about some of the stuff I've been doing then.
For sure.
So let's get into our regular segments. Our first segment, as we always did, was Pokemon news. And I mean, yes, in October, the Pokemon Legends ZA came out and the DLC, the Mega Dimension just came out. I have not played the Mega Dimension DLC yet, so I'm not going to talk on that. But I did find some interesting Pokemon news that I just saw yesterday, and that our pre-orders are up for the new book, Pokecology, an illustrated guide to Pokemon ecology, and it's out on April 21st. And now this sounds like one of those fan-made books. I've bought Pokemon fan-made books because usually fans can do more with the lore than actual Pokemon. But this book is coming out by Pikachu Press, which is their publishing company. So it's an official Pokemon ecology book.
And it's going to cost $7,000.
I think it costs $15.
Okay, well,
You
I mean,
can
in this economy, $15 is pretty close to 7,000.
You can pre-order it on Amazon, which I did. So since we are doing video, I will be able to show people it when it comes out. I'm excited for that. But that's really all the Pokemon news that has happened recently. Nothing much there. Our question of the week we always did, where we listen to your feedback and we got our feedback from you. We had so many comments about we can't wait for you to come back. I saw one that made me laugh that said they've listened to our 100th episode so many times they can recite it word for word.
I love that.
But a lot of them just, please come back, make more episodes. I do have one email that we received shortly after we went on a hiatus. So don't even know if this person is listening, but we had so many. We had an email from Ellie Little, and I'll tell you this email was sent on December 8th, 2023, that said, "Hey, I don't think you are still recording, but I wanted to tell you that I love your podcast. I'm only on episode 9, but I really enjoyed it. I listened to Amazon Music after I finished my homework, and the first thing I listened to is the Pokemon Snapshot. I don't really have much time to watch the show, so this really helps me talk about this to my fellow Poke fans. Thank you. Please record more." Your wish finally came true, Ellie. We are recording more.
Finally came through. I do want to point out that if she was only on episode 9, she was still on the episodes with Tyler, so she doesn't have any idea who I am, and she probably stopped listening as soon as my stupid face popped up.
Well, I will say I did look into our email account, and I did email her back when she did email me saying, "I'm sorry, maybe one day we'll record more." I go, "If you only," I did say, "Just wait till episode 32. My co-host changes." So I did get warning. And I will also say she made me feel good about myself. She goes, "It almost feels like I'm talking to a celebrity." You're not talking to a celebrity. I'm not famous.
For $500, Jeff will send you his autograph. He'll do a cameo for you.
Okay, so our next segment we usually do is education, but we haven't had time. Kate is a longtime listener. I would say the OG Pokemon Snapshot fan.
Yeah.
So throughout our recordings, she has a plethora of knowledge, and she is always given insight on something, and we usually read her insights because we don't know anything.
And she's a lot smarter than we are.
She's a lot smarter than both of us. But don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot, or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for the Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms, and if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. If you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. We did get some comments from Kate that says, "You're nerd famous, and that's good enough." Well, thank you, Kate. And I've been going back to school, so I'm even more educated.
Can't wait to hear more facts from Kate.
You just, for old time's sake, Josh, want to sing the jingle? Do you remember the jingle?
It's the first thing that pops into my mind when I wake up. Education!
There we go. I
Like riding a bike.
All right, Josh, I think it's time. It's time to get into the episode.
Let's get into it.
All right, so today's episode is the movie I Choose You, which in Japanese was also called I Choose You, so they kept things the same. It aired on July 15th, 2017 in Japan, and on November 5th, 2017.
I don't know why I didn't read the episode details like when I was going through the script. I would have guessed this premiered in like 2010, 2012, but although I guess 2017 is almost 10 years ago at this point. So I guess it does make sense. Okay.
Yeah. And time just catches up on you. All right, so Josh, let's get into the episode.
This is Pokémon the Movie, I Choose You. Such a stupid title. They're so hit or miss with their titles, and this one is a miss. But let's jump into it. For those of you who have listened to us before, you know that we spend roughly 84% of our time on the show discussing Ash's stupidity. So I just want to say that by the end of this movie, you're all going to feel so bad about laughing at our jokes at Ash's expense.
Josh, they've missed our warped sense of humor. Everyone's been asking us to come back, and we have not been canceled because from what I understand, people tell you when they're leaving nowadays.
Oh, well, my sense of humor has only gotten darker in the 2 years since we've been
There's some
gone.
good ones in this recording, so just wait, guys.
The movie begins with Ash watching a televised Pokemon battle between masters who apparently don't know anything about Pokemon types because one of them has their Blastoise battling a Venusaur. Venusaurs love water. Blastoise is essentially just watering a garden. Despite that, I do like the visuals of the movie. I think they look great. The animation is nice and crisp.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the animation looks wonderful. This is kind of crazy. I was thinking about this because you're like, it didn't even dawn on me, like, why are they choosing those Pokemon? Because this is presented as a top tier Pokemon League match on television. So aren't these people supposed to be like the best of the best?
It's like a hose versus a garden.
This is like turning on the Super Bowl and the first play is just a punt. That's a football joke, Josh.
Got that. I'm from Alabama. I know everything about football against my own will.
But at least the Venusaur feels clean now, I guess. And as I said, I do agree with you that the animation is gorgeous. And that was actually my first note when the movie started. My first thing said, man, this looks wonderful. And I think we noticed that when we watched the other movie too, like Pokemon the first movie, the animation just always, you can tell there's a bigger budget than just doing a syndicated television show.
Yeah. Later that night, Ash, in a dream state Pokemon encounter, throws a Pokeball at the wall. They don't pan over to the wall, but I assume his bedroom just has thousands of Pokeballs sticking halfway out of the drywall. His mom rushes in to wake him up, and Ash, of course, blames her for not waking him up earlier.
His mom doesn't even care about all the Pokeballs in his wall. She's just like, man, those are just load-bearing Pokeballs now. Do you think his mom wasn't there to make sure he got up on time because she stayed at Professor Oak's the night before?
Absolutely. And dudes that blame like their moms or their girlfriends or their wives or whoever for not waking them up on time really give like big, I don't know how to do my own laundry energy to me.
You know, in my house, my alarm's actually the first one that usually goes up. I'm the one who gets everyone up and going.
Well, that's because you're the dad. You got to get up and make dad noises and make lots of noise in the house. I have 7 alarms that wake me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Ash runs to Professor Oak's lab in his PJs. Professor Oak, speaking like an annoyed stepfather, tells Ash that the Pokemon or Pokemons, Pokemans? I don't.
Plural Pokemon is just Pokemon.
Okay, it's like fish or deer.
Moose.
No, it's mooses. I'm just kidding. He tells Ash that the Pokemon he wanted were all taken by trainers whose moms he doesn't see as just hot alarm clocks. Those are Professor Oak's words, not mine.
Yeah, Ash's mom is probably just blushing in the corner during that. You know, and also, I still think it's weird how he was expecting 4 trainers, but still only had 3 Pokemon.
Was Pikachu just like in a closet somewhere, just in case?
I guess he's like, I guess I'll send this one. It just makes no sense. You would assume a Pokemon professor would have a plethora of each of the 3 starters for people who are starting their journeys.
Do you think that the like starter Pokemon go through any kind of quality control process to make sure they aren't going to attack a trainer or something? Like surely some kid from like Lavender Town was burned by their starter Charmander and the government had to step in and place regulations on the Pokemon industry, right?
That is true. It's like when you're adopting a new dog, they always say this dog's good with other dogs. This dog's good with children. This Pokemon trainer, this Pokemon should not have a 10-year-old as its trainer.
I would think that's all Pokemon, but I don't know. Ash meets his new Pokemon, Pikachu, and falls down the stairs trying to catch it. I'm sure he wishes that was all that happened when he was chasing Pikachu around. But when Ash picks up Pikachu, he's zapped by a Thunderbolt. And the only thing better about Pikachu than how cute it is how often it injures Ash.
Pikachu is immediately setting boundaries with Ash. You know, this isn't to Pikachu, this is not a friendship. This is a situationship.
Speaking of situationships, Ash's mom shows up with Ash's clothes. And all I'm going to say, the only thing I will say, is that she sure seems to know her way around Professor Oak's lab to just show up out of nowhere like that. What kind of pickup lines do you think Professor Oak uses on Ash's mom? Hey, you want to see my Master Ball? Girl, you make my Magikarp evolve into a Gyarados.
I don't need a Pokédex to know you're one of a kind.
You're going for the elementary school pickup lines. There's an Arbok in my pants. You want to catch it? I had at least like 3 other really inappropriate ones that we will not have on the show.
And I'll be honest, he did put them in the script and said, I'm not going to say these, but I need you to see these.
One of them is incredibly funny, but I cannot say it because we would get so many complaints from kids' parents.
So a few more PG ones I had was you're super effective on my heart. I mean, that's a good Pokemon one. Charmander wasn't my first choice. You were. Are you a Charizard because things are heating up fast? Or Are you a ditto because you fit whatever mood I'm in? We did have a comment from Kate that says the Pokemon world is just ran by incompetent adults. And I would say starting with Ash's mom and Professor Oak.
I would say the real world is also run by incompetent adults.
True. Art, what is that? Art becomes reality.
Yeah,
there you go.
Just as soon as she shows up, Ash's mom and Professor Oak are just shooing him out the door, probably hoping he becomes Beedrill food. Ash tries to force Pikachu to get into its Pokeball, and Pikachu shocks all three of them.
Let's be honest. Oak and Delia probably like that, and both are getting new ideas.
Once their journey begins...
You're just going to skip over that.
Well, I'm sitting here trying to figure out... I'm like, who is Delia?
That's Ash's mom. Sorry. That's her name.
Does it say that?
In some episode, or at least if you're not oblivious like you.
Well, she's always Ash's mom to me. Once their journey begins, Ash drags Pikachu behind him with a rope while trying to convince Pikachu to stop being such a douche canoe.
You know, you were talking about regulation on Pokemon. You think there'd be regulations on Pokemon trainers too? Like, there has to be something telling Ash that you don't just tie a rope around an animal.
They're pretty loosey-goosey with their animal abuse rules in the Pokemon world, so I don't think tying a rope around it is really going to register. As Ash drags Pikachu, a nearby Pidgey catches Ash's eye. He throws a Pokeball at it, but it escapes. I guess Ash never played the Pokemon games, or he would know that is not how that works. Surely they have Pokemon games in the Pokemon world, right?
A Pokemon game in the Pokemon world, would that be their version of Cabela's Big Buck Hunter?
It's the Power Wash Simulator of the Pokemon world.
Hey, Power Wash Simulator is a great game, and I have put over 40 hours in a Power Wash Simulator too.
Have you actually power washed your real driveway, though?
No. And I'm going to go on a tangent because I got to complain to someone. The Switch 2 version of Power Wash Simulator 2 had a glitch where it might send you back. So I lost like 10 hours of progress on the game and had to redo like 5 levels.
You know what you would not lose 10 hours of progress on if you actually did it? Actually power washing your driveway.
No, because it would get dirty, so I'd have to do it again.
Fair enough. Ash throws a rock at the Pidgey, and in the distance I can hear Sarah McLachlan writing a new song.
The first image will be Ash pulling Pikachu by that rope.
Do you know any Pokemon that have been abused?
We'll meet one later on.
Yes, we will. Ash misses because, of course he does, and he hits a Spearow instead, the much more ornery bird Pokemon.
Honestly, Spearow is probably the worst bird Pokemon. Throwing a rock at a Spearow is like throwing a rock at a goose. Have you ever seen a goose hiss at someone?
Yes. I played Untitled Goose Game, and the entire premise of that game is you play as a goose and you're just a jerk to everyone, to put it.
That's real geese.
Yeah.
In fact, this isn't a goose story, but growing up, my great aunt and uncle had a turkey, and I was terrified of that thing because it would come up to our car when we went to their house, and it would chase you.
Do you get flashbacks when you hear like
every Thanksgiving? They're all having a great dinner, and I'm just sitting here like I'm going back to
You're sitting there flashing back to your own personal Vietnam being chased by a turkey. The Spearow attacks, but Pikachu climbs out of his douche canoe and counters, zapping the Spearow. Spearow takes the zap like a champ, flies into a nearby tree, and gathers like 200 of its cousins to attack. Ash and Pikachu take off running while the Spearow peck at the back of their heads.
That is definitely a family reunion I don't want to be a part of, though I really don't want to be part of any family reunion. Family reunions are the worst. Especially the part where I have to remember the family members that my parents insist I've met before.
I don't know. I feel like family reunions can be fun if your family is cool. But these Spearow are not cool.
Kate did leave a comment that said, my uncle's farm has guard geese for real. Those things were better than dogs that start unloading you and chasing people off. I said geese are terrifying.
I believe it. Ash picks up Pikachu and runs before they can get away. He jumps down a giant chasm into the rushing river below. As they float downstream, a giant Gyarados swims by, and you know that if this were real life, that Gyarados would have had a little Ash snack.
Yeah, between Gyarados and Beedrill, those are the two Pokemon that would be terrifying to me in real life.
Agreed.
I mean, I think there's a lot of Pokemon, but those are the two that pop into my head. Like a Tyranitar, would not want to see that thing in real life.
If I walked into my backyard and saw a Beedrill, I'm dying on the spot. There is no hope for me. I'm dying on the spot.
What about a Muck?
No, because the Muck's just going to go down into the sewers. It's fine. It's like Pennywise.
Okay.
You can avoid the sewers. You can't avoid walking in your backyard and giant bees are coming to kill you. After reaching the surface of the river, Pikachu looks worse for the wear, but but the Spearow horde continues to attack, and I'm really pulling for the Spearow here.
Yes, definitely. At this point, Ash has made every wrong possible decision.
Not much has changed in the 2 years that we've been gone, Jeff. As he runs, Ash trips, dropping Pikachu while the Spearow swarm overhead. Ash once again tries to convince Pikachu to go into his Pokeball as he turns around to face the Spearow horde himself.
You know, I know we give Ash a lot of crap, but this does show his true character. And honestly, we are in the worst part of Ash where we are in the anime, and he does get better, but he always does put others before him. Unless he's losing, which we will see later on in this movie, then he becomes a complete and total jerk.
There's such a fine line between recklessness and bravery. And so you're saying that he's willing to sacrifice himself for others. I guess we're going to talk more about this later in the movie. Ash declares to the swarm that he's going to be the greatest Pokemon master of all time. And the Spearow were like, bro, you couldn't even catch one of us.
You're just not going to reason with birds.
Never.
Birds are just going to bird. They're just going to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. If there is a surface out there, they're going to poop on it. There's nothing you can do to stop them.
You know what I learned yesterday? So, fun fact.
Okay.
And they don't tell you this, but one of my coworkers used to work for Cedar Point, you know, the big roller coaster place in Ohio. If a bird poops on you at Cedar Point, they'll give you a free T-shirt if you go up to any of the stands.
Do you think anyone's ever tried to fake it?
Well, they won't advertise it, but they tell it must be something from like way back when they first opened that the owner did or something, because they don't tell anyone about it, is what I'm told. But all the people who work there are told about it because they have to acknowledge it if someone comes up and mentions it.
You would just have kids like holding ice cream, like melted ice cream cones on their shirt, dripping it on there, saying it was a bird. A bird pooped on my head at Disney World one time.
Disney didn't give you a free shirt.
No, they made me pay for it. They made me pay to use the water to get the bird poop out of my hair.
To be fair, Disney does give free water.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I saw it. I like happened to like kind of turn my head and look up, and I see just something white just coming down at me, and it lands on my head. And my dad looks up, and about at the same time, I realize what it was, and he starts laughing, and I start crying and screaming. It's a terrible day.
What Josh isn't telling you guys is this happened this summer.
No, it was no. It was 2 summers ago.
Oh, okay. One more quick story while we're going on this tangent. My daughter, Kyrie, once I was not with them on this vacation, but they went to Kings Island, which is another amusement park in Ohio, and she ended up getting a bloody nose, like just happened
randomly.
Yeah, randomly. And, at Kings Island, they gave her a free T-shirt because she got a bloody nose and got it all over her shirt.
Aw, that was nice of them. Well, speaking of bloody noses, as the Spearow dive towards Ash's stupid face, Pikachu leaps into the air and conjures a thunderstorm that blows them all away. They'll be having roasted bird for dinner that night. The anger makes Spearow much more tender than the Pidgey.
I would guess a Spearow tastes like duck and a Pidgey is more like a chicken.
I'd say that's probably accurate. After the blast, Pikachu and Ash wake up side by side, thankful that they're alive. Pikachu licks Ash on the face, which is gross because Pikachu is just licking its own butt. They hear a mysterious sound and look up to find a rainbow-colored bird flying through the air. A feather falls from the bird, and Ash catches it. As the bird flies away, a rainbow stretches across the evening sky.
So that bird happens to be Ho-Oh, and I just want to know what is so special with Ash that he tends to be tied to destiny. This boy who could not even wake up on time to get his Pokemon, and as we will see, seems to always have run-ins with these legendary Pokemon.
Yeah, the time from like when he was blaming his mom for not waking him up on time, and basically the Pokemon world's version of God choosing him to be the rainbow hero is like a half an hour. So after this run-in with Ho-Oh, we cue the intro song. It's a redone version of the original theme, but it's still good. It is the second best theme that I've heard from the show after the original. The theme song also serves as a montage of Ash and Pikachu's time training together, which I thought was a smart storytelling device instead of showing like the repeated movie that they showed during the intro. Among the things shown in the montage are Pikachu and Ash battling and likely killing a defenseless Caterpie, fighting other trainers at some sort of school, and cuddling in Ash's sleeping bag.
Yeah, and you're right. This definitely hits the nostalgia right there. It's a wonderful remix of the original theme, and they knew exactly what they were doing when they did it. I liked all the callbacks to the original show with the storylines that we have seen before. So Ash's first Pokemon he catches is a Caterpie. Where they were battling at the school was from the episode The School of Hard Knocks.
I
Yeah,
must not have been on that episode.
no, no, it was in it was like the first 10 episodes and there's something. So, a lot of callbacks to the original TV show, which is cool because, yes, kids wouldn't see this, but you also had middle-aged men like me also in the theaters to watch this.
When we return from the intro, Ash and Pikachu are in the Celadon gym fighting and winning the Rainbow Badge. This is Ash's third badge that he's earned, and as expected, he's way too hyped on himself. One thing I've noticed in this movie that I haven't noticed in the episodes as much is the referees during the Pokemon battles that announce when a Pokemon can no longer fight. And so the battle is over. It's possible that I just haven't noticed it before, but it's already happened several times in this movie.
I think during the episodes, it was usually Brock being the referee, or there just wasn't one. I guess in Kanto, they really didn't deal with the semantics of making it fair. I also want to mention that somehow, as you said, they were going for the rainbow badge, and that's he says in the movie this is his third badge, but in the actual games and the anime, it's the fourth badge because Lieutenant Surge is the third badge.
After the battle, Ash goes to a Poké Center, and WebEx is his mom, who is pissed that she hasn't returned any of her calls. And he only returned this call because she said it was an emergency, claiming he's just like his father.
For those of you who don't know, WebEx is a different form of Zoom. Josh just uses that for work, so that's what he thinks of first.
Is that not a common one?
I've never heard it till you've mentioned it.
Oh,
We
so
do Zoom.
they were FaceTiming, they were Skyping.
They was Josh. Skype doesn't exist anymore. Skype.
How long have we been off the air?
We used to record on Skype, Josh,
Wow,
and they have
things have
shut it
changed.
down. I remember when I was in Japan using Skype to call my family.
You probably called your family more than Ash calls his mom.
Probably it was 2 cents a minute to call from Skype.
Wow.
So here's the thing. So as you said, he only claiming that he's just like his father. So is this claiming that this version of Ash's father isn't a complete and total deadbeat or dead? And is his dad still around? Does he know of her relationship with Oak?
I took it as the dad's not around. The dad is a deadbeat.
Okay, to be fair, Josh, Kate does know what WebEx is.
Thank you, Kate.
They say they use it at her school, but Kate knows everything, so I don't think she counts.
I'm taking Kate's side on this. Shut up, Jeff. So I won't talk about it until later, but I think this right here gets into the core of Ash's character, like deeper than just Ash being an inconsiderate 10-year-old. Because when Ash finds out that his mom only wanted him to call because, she's his mom, he says, "That's all? I'm hanging up. Kids, call your moms and tell them that you love them, or you're going to end up like Ash." And that is not something you want to do with your life. As she continues to berate Ash about his hygiene and eating habits, everyone in the Poké Center takes notice.
This feels like the first time the movie suggests Ash isn't just careless, he's actively avoiding connection.
This kid needs therapy.
Yes. He doesn't hang up because he's busy. He hangs up because he doesn't want to deal with whatever comes with that conversation. Ash just does not care about his mom. And as Josh said, kids, talk to your mom. Actually, Josh, this is kind of funny because as I was making clips, I was taking clips from our old episodes to share on our YouTube channel. And one of them, we were talking about how Ash needed therapy, but it was the 90s. So they said boys didn't need therapy in the 90s.
Boys don't cry. Girl in the Poké Center notices the wanted posters for Team Rocket, who is sitting nearby in disguises. I know this is like a totally different timeline or whatever, but it's very jarring to hear the different voices for all the characters, and Team Rocket are the most noticeable voice differences.
Yeah, that's always been my thing. Team Rocket, they are very noticeable. I'm pretty sure the voice actors are the ones who took over in the anime, but I could be wrong. I could have done my job and researched this, but I didn't.
Why would you do that?
But it will be interesting if not, I'm not even gonna say if, I'm gonna say when we get to the switch of actual voice actors to see that difference. What was really jarring is, Pokemon Journeys ended and they did those last 11 episodes to kind of send off Ash because he's no longer the main character or in the anime. Misty joins him for those, and her voice actor really threw me off because it sounds nothing like the Misty we know.
Yeah, that would throw me off so much.
Because at least the person who does Ash then during this movie sounds close to what Veronica Taylor could do.
It's not bad. Suddenly, a boy runs into the Poké Center with an injured Vaporeon who is hurt by the mysterious legendary Pokemon Entei. Overhearing what the boy says, Ash hangs up on his mom, who, I'm sure, drowns her sorrows in Professor Oak's arms. The boy tells everyone in the Poké Center about Entei, a Pokemon so mysterious and rare that no one ever sees them, and yet we're going to see all of the legendary Pokemon in the next hour.
The boy just decided to attack this legendary Pokemon with a Vaporeon? The Vaporeon also to me looked really small for some reason.
It was a tiny little baby.
Yeah, I would expect a Vaporeon to be bigger.
Yeah. The boy continues to talk about how strong Entei was, so naturally, everyone in the Poké Center takes off in the general direction of their Pokemon's certain demise.
I like how no one had the thought to maybe think before you start going after one of the strongest Pokemon on the planet.
No, you just run in the general direction of danger. For some reason, Team Rocket chooses this moment as the time to reveal themselves. Everything about Team Rocket in this movie is my biggest complaint about the whole thing, so go ahead and get yourselves ready for some being and seeing.
I'm with you. If they aren't going to have a main storyline, they should have just kept them out of this. There's no reason for them to be there, and they're usually my favorite part of the series as well. The movie, they do this during the movies. They just have, they're like, we have to put Team Rocket in the movie, and then they do nothing of note.
It's like they're contractually obligated. After about 30 seconds of running, 3 trainers, including Ash, find the mysterious and rare Entei, who no one ever sees except, I guess, if you run into the woods for 30 seconds.
Yeah, doesn't that kind of undercut the whole mysterious and rare thing? Not very rare.
Not very rare at all. The girl from the Poké Center throws out her Piplup, who attacks the Entei.
Yes. So bring your squirt gun to put out a forest fire. Yeah. A legendary Pokemon, and you're going to send out an unevolved Piplup.
Pikachu uses Thunderbolt, but Entei is too fast and dodges the attack. Then a boy with hair similar to Tina from Bob's Burgers shows up and has his Lucario attack, which at least Lucario is a little bit better than a Piplup.
Yeah. Lucario is definitely more competent Pokemon on Entei. So you brought up Tina from Bob's Burger. Since it's December, so Halloween wasn't that long ago. I went to a Halloween party, and there was a couple there that dressed as Bob and Tina from Bob's Burgers, but they switched it. The girlfriend was Bob and the boyfriend was Tina. It was awesome.
I love that. None of the trainers are successful, though. The girl, whose name is Verity, and Ash begin to argue, vowing to settle their differences in a Pokemon battle. The boy, whose name is Sorrel, which is a stupid name, warns that they should seek shelter from the coming rain. Is he like a Pokemon meteorologist or something? The girl says that before they battle, Ash needs to call his mommy, and I like her already. They begin to battle, but it ends quickly when they awaken a sleeping Onix who begins to chase them through the forest.
Weren't both their Pokemon just almost taken out by Entei, and then Ash like, let's use them to battle? No sympathy.
None at all. In another part of the forest, Team Rocket stands on top of a rock waiting for Entei. Jessie says, so I'm here, so where is Entei? But before she gets her answer, Onix shoots out of the ground and sends them blasting off. So here is my issue. I'm going to go on a rant here. Here is my issue with the whole movie. And this happens multiple times throughout the whole thing, so spoiler alert. Sorry, folks. We're 22 minutes into the movie right now, and Team Rocket has already blasted off once. This is a feature-length film, so I will allow 2 good blast-offs. They blast off like 3 or 4 times throughout the entirety of the movie, and that's at least 1 too many blast-offs, and I'm being generous. Like, Team Rocket has always been my favorite, so if you're going to have them blast off, you got to earn the blast-off. You can't blast off without earning it. It's just so much opportunity wasted in this movie.
Yeah, it's like the writers did not know how to handle Team Rocket during this movie. They're like, as you said, contractually obligated. And I understand they probably didn't want to like tell their voice actors, you aren't going to get this job because we don't need your characters. But to be fair, usually voice actors, I think, voice more than one character anyway, so they're getting something. Right. They assumed that they had to enter them into this like it's in the contract. Team Rocket is best when they are coming up with a scheme and not just used as a running gag. If there's no reason for them to be there, just leave them out.
Agreed. Hard agree. Ash and Verity are still running from the Onix as it nearly catches them. Ash spots a nearby rock formation and says, hey, let's climb on top of that, as if they're not being chased by an Onix.
You know, the Pokemon where it explicitly states in the Pokedex that it eats rocks.
It's like running from a Magmar and hiding in a volcano. Like a direct response to Ash's stupidity, Onix immediately smashes through the boulder. I've always said that Ash is the luckiest person in the history of fiction, and once again he proves that because the gang lands on Onix's back. When Onix refuses to stop, Ash jumps in front of it, holding out his arms like it's Tiananmen Square and yelling at Onix to stop. Verity, who has an actual brain, has her Piplup cast Whirlpool. Finally, the Onyx calms down in the face of the swirling water. As the Onyx runs away, Verity tells Ash that he does some stupid things, but she's still impressed. Honestly, I kind of get it. It is impressive how stupid Ash is, but reckless stupidity is still a kind of bravery. Just then, it begins to rain, just like Sorrel had predicted.
So the weatherman was right for once.
I'm going to defend Weatherman. If anyone is in the Southeast, particularly Alabama, we have like the greatest weatherman in the world. If James Spann gets on TV and rolls up his sleeves, you need to get your hard hat helmet on and you need to get in the basement.
So here, I don't usually watch the weatherman, but we have a Facebook page called the Michigan Storm Watchers that is very accurate and usually they'll tell you how much snow you're gonna get. It's great.
Okay, I'm gonna make a claim here. And I think I have enough evidence because I know a lot of people from Michigan. I also think I have the authority as someone from Alabama to say this. I think Michiganders are the rednecks of the North. It's pretty accurate, right?
It is.
Yeah, y'all are the northern rednecks. As much crap as we get about being rednecks in Alabama, there's some pretty big rednecks up in Michigan.
Hey, Kate agrees with me that Michigan Stormwatchers are so great.
But she didn't refute the redneck part.
And Braves fan 15 likes your Tiananmen. I can't even say it.
Tiananmen?
Yeah, that. Liked your joke.
Thanks, buddy.
So Verity is choosing to stay with Ash. She just met this kid and has almost died like 3 times.
She just loves the thrill of adventure. Likes living life on the edge. As they run through the forest searching for shelter, Team Ash passes a lonely Charmander sitting on a rock by itself. When they question what the Charmander is doing out alone, it stands up and runs towards another trainer who approaches. I already don't like this guy. He looks like he's in the Pokemon world equivalent of an 80s hair band. I guess it would be, instead of Def Leppard, it would be Def Leipard.
I had a couple of those too. How about Motley Tentacruel?
That's a good one.
Or Guns N' Roses?
Poison would just have the same band name because that's what I want to do to myself every time I hear Every Rose Has Its Thorns. Just a swift poison powder to the dome. The guy whose name is Cross confirms my hatred when he kicks Charmander like 3 feet across the forest floor. Ash might be a human trash bag, but to his credit, he does not put up with animal abuse outside of, all the battling and owning these animals as property.
Yeah, that kick was harsh. And I'm with you. I cannot stand anyone who abuses animals that way. This was definitely way worse than the original episode that this scene is based off of. Charmander went a good 3 feet after that kick.
Yeah. Cross reveals that he was Charmander's original trainer, but because Charmander was weak, he told it to stay in one spot and one day he would return. Which, this is legitimately cruel.
Yeah, it's even worse than abandoning it. You're not just abandoning, yes, I don't condone it. People leave animals on the side of the road, abandon it, but you're literally giving this animal false hope and just making it think you will come back when you never will.
Yeah, these are just animals. These animals are capable of complex emotions like hope.
Yes.
And trust. I think this scene has pretty interesting implications for how the bonds between Pokemon and humans work. But Cross says that only a Pokemon's strength is what matters. This is a dude that definitely blames his mom for not waking him up on time and absolutely does not know how to work a washing machine.
Yeah, he just sees Pokemon as a way to show how powerful he is. He doesn't treat them as animals. They're just a way to get what he wants.
Ash says some hippy-dippy nonsense about being friends, and Charmander, devastated, falls to the ground, its flame fading. They rush into a cave to find that Sorrel has conveniently already started a fire. Sorrel screams at Ash about leaving Charmander out in the rain, and I understand his assumption that Ash did something stupid, but Verity comes to Ash's defense.
So, real quickly, Sorrel wasn't with them during this scene. They just happened to run into the same cave he was in.
Correct. Yeah, it's incredibly convenient.
Yeah, especially since this may have not even been the way Ash was planning to go. It was kind of the way the Onyx took him.
Well, knowing what we already know about where Ash ends up in this story, it could have been the hand of fate.
Well, yeah, and speaking of Verity, anyone who assumes Ash did something stupid has about a 90% chance of being correct.
More like 96 or 7. I did not mean to do a 6-7 joke right there. That was not on purpose, but it's the only thing I've heard for the past 6 weeks. If I hear 6-7 again, I'm going to, what is it? I can't remember. What is it, the murder code?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I ruined the joke. It's fine. As they gather around the fire, Ash immediately asks Sorrel if he can help, and Sorrel responds, "That's what I'm trying to do." Sorrel makes some sort of concoction and shoves it in Charmander's mouth, saying that it will stabilize him. As Charmander goes in and out of consciousness, it looks up to find Ash telling it everything will be okay. And if I were Charmander and I woke up and saw Ash's stupid face next to me telling me it's going to be okay, I would find the nearest bucket of ice water and stick my tail in it. As the group talks around the campfire, Sorrel reveals that he is training to become a Pokemon professor and that you need medical training for that, which is why he knew how to save Charmander.
It's interesting seeing what it takes. It's interesting thinking about what it takes to be a Pokemon professor. I don't think we have met a character that has those aspirations yet. That also makes me wonder how you become a specific professor over a region. Do you think you need to battle the current professor of the region, or do you just have to wait until they retire?
Could you imagine, like, in order to earn tenure in a college, you have to duel the dean of the college? That's our world's equivalent of professors battling each other to become head professor.
I need the education theme song, Josh.
Education.
She tells you it's 86 is the murder code.
Thank you. I knew I was close. It was within 20.
She also says Pennsylvania beats Michigan for rednecks any day.
Oh, I'm wearing my Penn or whatever this is, my Pitt shirt right here. So shout out to Pennsylvania. Verity is asked why she is so far away from home. She gets real sketchy about it. So I'm sure we'll learn more about that later. When Ash is asked what he's doing there, he tells him that he's going to become a Pokemon Master. Verity, skeptical, says, "Don't you mean a Pokemon trainer?" To which Ash replies, "No, much more than that." And everyone laughs at him, rightfully so. When Sorrel and Verity tell their Pokemon to get in the Pokeball, Ash says that his Pikachu doesn't go in its own Pokeball, so their Pokemon decide to stay out as well.
So this is when we learned that Pokemon Master is just something that Ash made up. No one else knows what he's talking about.
Now, convincing Ash that he could be a Pokemon Master was just a part of Ash's mom and Professor Oak's plan to get rid of him. It's like, you know what you can be one day, son? A Pokemon Master. No one's ever been that before. As they sit around the campfire, the Entei from earlier walks in calmly with several other Pokemon in tow, including a Cubone who sounds like he got into that one hippie Pokeflute guy's stash. So I'm going to need to add a little bit of audio right here.
Seeing the fearsome forces of nature, people and Pokemon are the same.
Isn't it also, I was thinking about this, isn't it weird that these animals just can say, the only thing they can say is their own name? So, like, wouldn't it be weird if one of my dogs just came up to me and was like, dog? And that was the only thing he could say. Sorrel says some more hippy-dippy nonsense. You heard a little bit of it there. Some more hippy-dippy nonsense about us all being one or something. And then he takes a huge lore dump right here about how Ho-Oh gave life to Entei. Jeff, can you take just a steamy lore dump on all of us?
Yeah, so here's the story. Around 150 years ago, there was this bell tower that Ho-Oh lived in, and people could go and visit him. There was a storm one day, and lightning hit the tower, and it was engulfed in flames. While the tower was on fire, a rainstorm came and put the flames out. 3 Pokemon were in the tower that day. It burned down, and they died. Ho-Oh brought these 3 Pokemon back to life. They represented the lightning that struck the tower, Raikou, the fire that burned the tower down, Entei, and the rain that put out the flames, Suicune.
So if I understand the lore correctly, and I'm relatively certain that I do not, Ho-Oh is basically Pokemon God. Correct. And he gave his feather to Ash. So Ash is, at least in this version of the story, is this world's Jesus, right? So I will support and I'm not just making wild claims. I will support my argument at the climax of this film.
Okay.
Sorrel says that the Rainbow Wing was given to, or was like a prophecy given to the Rainbow Hero. And I can hear a bunch of chronically online dudes crying about how Pokemon has gone woke because of the Rainbow Hero. And I'm sure, I can guarantee you they call it Wokemon.
Yes, besides the fact that the rainbow feather has been a thing since Gold and Silver came out in 1999.
Yeah, but they just heard about it 26 years later, so now it means woke or something. I don't know. As their conversation ends, a Marshadow creeps out from the darkness, sniffing Ash's ear as he sleeps. The next morning, Entei and all of his friends are gone, or for anyone that knows how predators work, breakfast. Charmander is feeling much better and agrees to come on the adventure, despite missing his old trainer.
I mean, isn't that the sign of an abusive relationship? It's crazy how even through all of the abuse, Charmander still wants to be with Cross.
The Stockholm Syndrome. As they leave the cave, Team Ash sees a rainbow in the distance. The rainbow feather in Ash's pocket begins to glow, guiding the group towards the Ryzen mountain range. Ash declares that he wants to go there and have a battle with Ho-Oh. So basically, Jesus wants to fight God. And we're off.
Yes. And all of these legendary Pokemon are just trying to do their thing, and this annoying 10-year-old is showing up and annoying them.
Nearby, Team Rocket schemes for no reason, while Ash's Caterpie evolves into a Metapod while battling a Pinsir, because I guess Ash is just determined to have the world's worst team of Pokemon.
I don't know why they focus so much on the movie on Caterpie. He isn't interesting. It's not like they show where we get to know it more. He's in these flashbacks and just shows up randomly like, yep, Ash has this.
As night falls, Verity sits next to a lake, scrolling through pictures on her phone like a true zoomer. Across the river, the mysterious and rare Suicune that no one ever sees, according to that dude from the Poke Center, reveals itself to the kid scrolling TikTok.
You know what? I'm just going to assume she was scrolling the Pokemon Snapshot's new TikTok page where you will find short clips from episodes of that podcast. # cheap plug.
Please don't hashtag the show.
You know what?
It's gonna be another 2 years before the next episode if you hashtag us again.
If you can make a 6-7 joke, I can make a hashtag joke.
That was an accident. That's just because it's all I hear every day from 13-year-olds. The next morning, Verity mentions that her mother, who is a famous Pokemon trainer who we get no more information about after this scene, and she have not talked in a very long time. I guess that explains why she's so far from home. The scene cuts to Charmander roasting a Jigglypuff and then evolving into Charmeleon. It's weird seeing a Charmander evolution that doesn't abhor Ash's very existence.
I had the exact same note. They kept a lot of the same from the original, but decided that the main story beat from the original show should be completely different.
I like the change here, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Back at the Pokemon Center, Ash's mom, who is on WebEx, Skype, Zoom, I can't think of any more, Riverside.
Teams.
Microsoft has a monopoly in the Pokemon world.
Yeah.
They're video chatting with Ash's mom, and she tells Verity and Sorrel what a huge mistake they're making going along on this adventure with Ash. According to some book that Sorrel found, if a rainbow wing touches the, quote, heart of evil, it loses its color, and Cross overhears all of this.
How long do you think they've been traveling together? Like, it has to be at least a week or more, right?
Maybe. It seems like not a lot of time has passed, but I'd say a week is probably about right.
Yeah. Like, Ash is now just introducing his mom to his new friends.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of his friends, I don't understand why the movie decided to keep so much the same but change his traveling companions. Like, would it have been cool to have Brock and Misty back in their roles here?
Yeah, I don't really understand the logic there. We'll talk a little bit more about it near the end of the movie. After the scene cuts again, and after Ash defeats a Snorlax, challenges him to a battle. Cross's Incineroar battles Charmeleon, absorbing the fire attacks until it endures enough damage to increase its power, and then just beats the brakes off of Charmeleon.
I will say this was a really cool way to incorporate abilities, which we're only in the Orange Islands in our watch through, so we haven't gotten to where abilities existed, which came out in Ruby and Sapphire. But in the games, Incineroar has the ability Blaze, which increases the power of attacks by 50% if it's under 1/3 of its max hit points. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too. It's kind of like how Black Panther will take damage on his suit and then he'll like release the energy or whatever. Ash can't believe his defeat as Cross calls him the worst trainer he's ever seen, which I think is pretty harsh. But honestly, I'm just trying to stay on Poke Jesusmon. I haven't come up with a good name for it yet. I'll get there.
I feel like Jesusmon would be the name of a Digimon.
I'm trying to stay on. Yeah, Poke Jesus doesn't roll off the tongue either. Poke Zeus.
Pokezeus.
We're getting a little Spanish flavor in here. I'm trying to stay on Pokezeus's good side. Ash is super butthurt and wanders into the woods where he says some hateful things to Pikachu about wishing he had another Pokemon before getting lost and falling asleep in the woods.
At this point, Ash is just being a big baby. Honestly, how is he talking to Charmeleon? How he is talking to Charmeleon doesn't make him any better than Cross at this point.
Yeah. He takes out the rainbow feather while Marshadow begins to whisper sweet nothings in Ash's ear. Ash goes into a trance like he's at an EDM show and hallucinates an alternate timeline. Jeff, can you explain what all he sees here?
Yeah, so he starts to dream that he's in a world where Pokemon don't exist and he's going to a regular school as a regular person. I mean, no Pokejesus here. Like,
Hold on. Pokezeus.
Pokezeus?
Pokezeus.
Pokezeus?
Yes.
Okay, so nobody.
Pokezeus.
Pokezeus.
Yes.
So when you said that, I was thinking like Zeus, the god of thunder.
No. Jesus, like the
Jesus.
Spanish
Okay.
pronunciation of Jesus.
All right. So no being Pokezeus in this dream. In the dream, Ash feels something is missing and starts to remember Pikachu, who we see is there but faded. As Ash remembers Pokemon and Pikachu more, Pikachu becomes clearer. I also want to mention that everything besides Pikachu is black and white during this sequence.
Yeah, it's like very bleak. The school that they're at has like a fence around it that has doesn't it have like the barbed wire at the top or something similar?
No, it's so I've seen this in lots of like video games that are very Japanese as far as like the Persona games or even Japanese anime. From what I understand, a lot of, and this is just what I get from video games and anime, but I think a lot of Japanese schools have like a courtyard, and that's kind of keep kids from jumping off the roof.
I was about to ask. I mean, honestly, if you went from a world that had Pokemon into a world that didn't, you'd probably want to jump too.
Yeah. So it looked just like a regular school. Like I've seen in the Persona games, I've seen in some anime. Yeah, a lot of them have that roof on them.
All right. So now I want to discuss Marshadow. So remember Sorrel's book that said the heart of evil would make the rainbow wing lose its color? Well, when Ash goes into this trance and has the wing in his hand, the wing loses its color. So does this mean that Marshadow is the heart of evil? Or if we want to use its acronym, the HOE, the HOE? If Marshadow is the HOE, does this mean he's basically this world's Satan?
No, so what I think is happening is that when Ash starts having his little hissy fit, this was Marshadow's way of saying that if Ash doesn't watch it, he will start to have a heart of evil. Maybe.
No, you're getting too complicated with it.
Okay, well.
No. Well, let's keep it simple for the sake of me being stupid.
Okay. And so this is the point, though, that we are going to go into our Who's That Pokemon segment.
Who's that Pokemon?
And our Who's That Pokemon for this episode is I didn't expect it to play, sorry. Is Marshadow. We'll play it again. So I'll just let you guys a little peek behind the curtain that I have a soundboard. And so now when we do a Who's That Pokemon segment, I can play the Pokemon's cries when we're talking about them.
Pretty cool.
So some basic information on Marshadow. It's number 802 in the Pokedex. It is fighting and ghost type. It is 2 foot 4 inches tall and weighs 48.9 pounds. And it is known as the Gloom Dweller Pokemon.
That is depressing.
It is kind of depressing.
The Gloom Dweller.
The Gloom Dweller. And it does not evolve.
God, that's really depressing. It doesn't evolve either?
No, it's just
they need a huge fence around wherever this thing lives.
So Marshadow's origin, its name. Marshadow's name comes from a blend of marsh, as in wetlands or misty swamps, and shadow. So the marsh evokes something that lurks in foggy, damp places, fitting its ghost and fighting type and its stealthy, elusive nature. And then shadow highlights its ghostly, intangible qualities and its ability to hide within shadows. So Marshadow essentially means shadow of the marsh, or one who hides in the mist, perfectly matching its lore, a mythical Pokemon that moves unseen in the shadows and is said to copy the movements of others. And I didn't say this because I forgot to, but its Japanese name is also just Marshadow.
So I thought the marsh was like marshmallow because it looks a little fluffy.
That could be too. I mean, sometimes they just make things up, but so that could be a little bit as well. But what is Marshadow based off of? So there's a few things that it draws its concept from. So the first is martial arts and shadow boxing. It's a fighting type and stance resemble a boxer or martial artist, specifically referencing shadow boxing, the act of practicing punches and movements against an imaginary opponent. The idea of fighting with one shadow connects perfectly to its ghost type and stealthy imitative nature. It literally hides in the shadows and mimics others. It has a shadow spirit yokai influence, so Marshadow's ability to dwell in shadows is reminiscent of various Japanese yokai, which are supernatural entities that can inhabit or emerge from darkness. Its behavior, watching from shadows and copying others, evokes Kageana, the shadow woman, or other folklore spirits that mimic human actions unseen. Have you ever seen um pictures of yokai? Yokai are freaky.
Yeah. I like the shadow dwellers or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty scary.
I played that video game where you fight there's different yokai, and I can't remember what it's called. The Tokyo game. The name's leaving me, so I won't even go into that.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the
It
name of
was
the
a
game.
fun game. Lots of Japanese lore in that game. It was very interesting. Marshadow also has a will-o-wisp and phantom imagery. The faint green flames like aura seen in its zenith form resembles will-o-wisp, ghostly lights said to lead travelers astray in swamps and marshes. And then some Greek shadow concepts. Some fans also draw connection to the Greek concept of eidolon, a shadow spirit or image of a person. In mythology, eidola were reflections or shades of the living, much like how Marshadow copies others and powers.
It's like the Sith version of a Ditto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except for it can't change its form. It all looks like what it does. So Marshadow's biology. Marshadow is a small humanoid Pokemon seemingly formed from smoky gray shadows. Its face is framed by what looks like a helmet or headgear, with two curled horn-like shapes on top and a faint wispy horn rising between them. It has piercing orange...
Sounds familiar, knowing that this world's
Satan.
Lucifer.
It has piercing orange-red eyes with yellow pupils and small oval yellow markings above each one. A faint collar of smoke encircles its neck. Its wrists have small bumps and trails of shadow drifting from its feet as it moves. When angered or ready to fight, Marshadow's hidden power ignites, transforming it into Zenith Marshmallow. I almost said marshmallow.
The Zenith Marshmallow.
Zenith Marshadow, or in Japanese, it's known as full-powered Marshadow. Zenith Marshadow sounds cooler.
It sounds way cooler.
In this heightened form, the wisps around its head, neck, and wrists erupt into flickering green and yellow flames. Its eyes burn more intensely, though their colors remain unchanged. So I gave you a picture of Zenith Marshadow. Looks
The Zenith looks cool.
Yeah,
The Zenith version.
yeah, its shape doesn't change. It's not like as big of a change as its mega form,
Mhm.
but as a mega form, Marshadow does not have a mega form, but they do change the coloring. Rarely seen by humans, Marshadow's very existence was long considered myth. It is an extremely cautious Pokemon, slipping into shadows to remain unnoticed, much like Gengar. While concealed in another shadow, it can sense emotions and perfectly imitate movements and abilities. Over time, this mimicry allows it to grow stronger than those it copies, learning even the ultimate techniques of the martial art masters it observes. In Pokémon the Movie I Choose You, Marshadow demonstrates additional abilities such as causing nightmares, stretching its limbs, and shapeshifting its form. When corrupted by the rainbow feather, it can even command the will of countless Pokemon using the power of its shadows, which we will see later on. Marshadow is the sole Pokemon capable of learning the move Spectral Thief and the exclusive user of the Z move Soul Stealing 7-Star Strike.
So you steal their souls and then you strike them with 7 stars? God, it's overkill.
So some Pokedex entries on Marshadow. Pokemon Sun says able to conceal itself in shadows. It never appears before humans, so its very existence was the stuff of myth. Pokemon Moon says it lurks in the shadow of others, copying their movements and powers. This Pokemon is craven and cowering. What does that even mean? It's craven and cowering.
It's like afraid, I guess? It cowers?
I have no idea. Ultra Sun says it slips into the shadows of others and mimics their powers and movements. As it improves, it becomes stronger than those it's imitating. Ultramoon says it sinks into the shadows of people and Pokemon where it can understand their feelings and copy their capabilities. Pokemon Sword says by slipping into the shadow of martial arts master and copying their movements, this Pokemon learned the ultimate techniques. And then Pokemon Shield says this Pokemon can conceal itself in any shadow, so it went undiscovered for a long time. All right.
It's a pretty cool Pokemon. It's hard to make jokes about it because I'm kind of like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. Marshadow is a cool Pokemon. And it's interesting because we've only been dealing with the original Kanto Pokemon and Togepi. We did do Togepi for once since they have appeared, but this is our first time going way beyond that into a Pokemon that originally was created in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. So, as said, number 802. And so that was our Who's That Pokemon segment on Marshadow.
Who's that Pokemon?
Back in the movie, Ash and Pikachu fall from the sky back into Ash's body. He remembers who Pikachu is and hugs it tight, causing the Marshadow to kick rocks. Sorrel tells Ash that you can't expect to win every battle, moron. He then explains that it's possible for Pokemon to leave like your dad going out for a pack of smokes. He recalls his family's Luxray, who used to follow him everywhere. One day, he went out alone in the frigid snow.
Did he even explain why he went out in the snow? I don't
He did not.
remember.
No, he did
So
not.
so this kid is like, there's a blizzard outside. Let's go. I'm just gonna go. Mom and dad just left me alone with our pet, which is a horrible parenting to leave the dog to watch your children.
If there's one thing I've learned in 13 years in education, it's that kids are stupid.
Yeah, don't leave the dog to watch your children. That does not work. That's actually a running joke when my kids are like, "Where are we going?" And we'll say, "Oh, we're just gonna leave you home with the dogs."
Sorrel passes out in the snow, I guess from frostbite. I don't really know how the cold works because living in Alabama, it is both humid and hot 50 out of 52 weeks of the year. Right now, we're currently in our cold period, our like 2 weeks of cold. It was 21 degrees sometime earlier this week. And if it snows, we're just going to have to shut down the entire state. If you'll remember when we lived in Garden City together, the day that it snowed, we got out for a snow day and you had to come pick me up.
Yeah, so when Josh and I both were teachers in Kansas, we made a pact with a bunch of our teacher friends that the first snow day of the year, because none of us had kids or anything, we were
Responsibilities.
we had no responsibilities except for ourselves, and I guess my responsibility was Josh that day.
Because I think it snowed about a quarter of an inch.
Yeah,
And
it barely snowed.
yeah, it snowed like a quarter of an inch, and there was no way I was getting out on the roads of death that day.
Yeah, so we were gonna meet at our friend's house to play board games, and I think she made us biscuits and gravy. That's what we said. If we had a snow day, we were gonna have biscuits and gravy at our friend's house. And Josh texts me. He's like, "You need to come pick me up."
I would have ended up in a ditch somewhere.
To be fair, there was another person in our friend group who was also from Alabama, and during the middle of our board game day, breakfast, whatever, Josh and this girl went out into the yard and decided to have a snowball fight.
I'm pretty sure I won that too.
The rest of us decided not to go outside because it was cold, and we're like, yeah, it's snow, whatever.
Look, I don't get to enjoy the snow very often. Let me have this moment. Luxray finds Sorrel, and it would seem he's there to save Sorrel and take him home, but instead it lays down next to Sorrel and dies from hypothermia overnight. Why didn't the Luxray take him home? Like, none of it makes sense. And Sorrel said that his Pokemon left, but Luxray didn't leave. It died. And it was entirely Sorrel's fault. So he says the only thing that brought him out of the depression was meeting Lucario, to which Ash responds, "Awesome!" And I assume he only heard the last part of what Sorrel said and not the part about involuntary manslaughtering the family pet.
Yeah, so Luxray is definitely large enough to carry him back to the home.
He's like 150 pounds at least.
Yeah, I mean, I could look up how much Luxray weighs if I wanted to, but I believe this is the first time we have actually seen a Pokemon die. Luxray dies on screen.
Yeah.
You see him die.
You watch this animal take its final breath.
So
It crosses over into the unknown on screen.
there have been stories, and we have seen ghosts of Pokemon, but not the actual Pokemon dying on screen. Though I will say, I do not know what happens much after they leave Johto, so maybe they explore death more, but seeing a Pokemon die was just weird.
Suddenly, Pikachu notices the Marshadow and zaps all the nearby trees, causing like a dozen Primeapes to attack. The Primeapes begin tossing Team Ash into the air over and over again, and honestly, it kind of looks fun. Ash is able to escape and has Metapod subdue them with String Shot. This historic moment is the only time a Metapod has ever been useful, and as a result, it evolves into a Butterfree, the second worst Pokemon after its previous form.
Hey, I always had a Butterfree in red and blue because they learned Confusion at an early level and was an easy way to take out Brock.
Well, that would involve having to think about strategy, and I'm just not going to do that. Butterfree sprinkles its magic dust on the Primeapes, and they all fall asleep. Team Ash runs away just as Team Rocket catches up. Team Rocket observes the sleeping Primeapes, talking about their plan to catch them all, when the Primeapes wake up and Team Rocket blast off once again. Like I said earlier, a blast off has to be earned. You can't just be blasting off every time Team Rocket is on screen.
Yeah, again, it's pointless to even have them in this movie.
Agreed. Back in the open air, Team Ash finds a pink Butterfree being attacked by a Furo. Ash's Butterfree comes to her rescue, and if you enjoyed Butterfree in the last scene, then get excited because he's about to be sprinkling his magic dust all over the Kanto countryside.
So real quickly, so I just want to pull back the curtain here. Josh has a tendency, because he doesn't want to type the whole word, to abbreviate words in our script that we want to make sure. And so it says, back in the open air, TA he uses for Team Ash finds a pink Butterfree being attacked. He wrote Butterfree out there, but then he says Ash's Butterfree, but he put Ash's BF, so I definitely read that in my head as Ash's boyfriend.
Look, I don't know. Don't look, actually. Don't look. Ash's boyfriend comes to the other girl's rescue, and that causes a lot of troubles. No, the Butterfree comes to his new lady friend's rescue. And if you enjoyed Butterfree in the last scene, they get excited because he's about to be sprinkling his magic dust all over the Kanto countryside. Team Ash finds the Raizen Mountains, and the rainbow feather begins to glow towards Mount Tensei. They take off running as Team Rocket looks on. I guess they landed near Team Ash after being blasted off. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense. As Team Ash nears a canyon, they stumble upon what can what can only be described as a giant Butterfree orgy. I asked Jeff if I could describe this scene in graphic detail, and he said as long as I kept it PG-13. So here is a quote about how butterflies mate. From the website valleyofthebutterflies.com. Links will be in the description below. Butterflies mate on the ground. I'm with them so far. They face away from each other, and then the tips of their abdomens join. Okay, it's getting a little weird here. The, the male butterfly conveys the spermatophore, which is the packet of sperm, to the female's body. The verb conveys here really freaks me out. He's conveying the spermatophore to the female's body. Later on, the waiting ova is fertilized, and the adult mother lays her eggs onto leaves, so another life cycle is perpetuated. Some can mate while flying, which is proved to be life-saving for them if predators attack them, especially because during the mating process, they are vulnerable.
Aren't most people vulnerable?
I would think so. But most people can't do it while they're flying around. I thought the turning away from each other was a little weird, but they're like teenagers in a horror movie trying to make sure the killer can't sneak up behind them.
Do you think the writers and animators actually looked up butterfly mating rituals, or was this just coincidental that they kind of matched it?
I don't think the writers did any research on anything when they wrote this movie.
You know what? I'm proud that you did research. I think this is a first
in my entire life.
In your entire life, yeah. And it's looking up butterfly mating rituals.
Ash struggles with the realization that his Butterfree might put hoes before bros and leave him. If I could psychoanalyze Ash for just a second, I think he has a tough time with someone leaving him because of the trauma of his dad leaving. But it manifests in him treating his mom in a similar way, perpetuating the cycle of trauma and abandonment. That's my psychoanalysis. Although Butterfree is sad over his decision to go with the girl, I think he's making the right choice, because if he had stayed with Ash, he would have spent the rest of his life wondering what could have been until Ash finally caught enough better Pokemon and Butterfree was dumped into the Pokemon storage box for all eternity. After a few tender moments, Pikachu's electricity is triggered, and the group turns to find the mysterious and rare Raikou. I love how all these legendary Pokemon are supposed to be super rare, and they're all just revealing themselves at every turn. It conjures thunder, and then it bunks off.
That's right. It's pronounced Raikou, not Raikou. I've pronounced this Pokemon's name wrong not my whole life. It hasn't been around, but since it's existed, it's Raikou. Okay. But yeah, it kind of undermines the whole being rare thing. I guess they wanted to go with the whole Ho-Oh story, which, to be fair, at the time of this movie, Ho-Oh was one of the only Pokemon to not have a specific episode or movie based on a legendary. So it was the last one they needed to do.
As Team Ash ascends the mountain, they notice that all the wild Pokemon are agitated for some reason. Some old dude who looks like he's been following the dead since 72 shows up and reveals he's Bonji, a famous scientist who has been trying to catch a glimpse of Ho-Oh for over 20 years. He says that the rainbow feathers or the rainbow wings influence is probably what made the legendary Pokemon show up, and I'll give them credit. That at least makes logical sense to me. They were drawn to the power of the rainbow wing. I'll take back everything I said about all the legendary Pokemon just showing up willy-nilly. Bonji suggests that Ash is the rainbow hero, aka Pokezeus. Bonji points out that Marshadow is probably the culprit for all the strangeness, just as the rainbow feather pushes Team Ash closer to the mountain. Nearby, Team Rocket watches.
Again, I know you're just going to say it's because he's Pokezeus, but I still don't get how Ash seems to stumble into all these situations. What's so special about him? What did he do?
It's like Ho-Oh had a dart and he just closed his eyes and threw it out of the wall with like 100 of the stupidest 10-year-olds in Kanto, and it landed on Ash. As Ash is about to place the feather on the mountain, Cross's Incineroar attacks. He plans to take the feather and battle Ho-Oh himself. He doesn't care that Ash is Pokezeus. He's an Ash theist. An Ash-theist? No, Ash-theist sounds better. Verity tells Cross that only the Rainbow Hero can battle Ho-Oh, but Cross says he's too soft and that might makes right. And I did an actual double take when I was watching the movie when I heard him say that, because might is right is like a literal Nazi slogan. And I'm talking like the OG Nazis, not the whiny baby Nazis we have on 4chan and Twitter, which I refuse to call X.
So, I mean, I'm going to guess that was not unintentional and just the dubbers trying to make a rhyming saying, but come on, guys, do your research.
For once, do some research. Marshadow shows up to observe the proceedings. Ash throws out Charmeleon to fight Incineroar because that worked out so well last time. After some intense hand-to-hand combat, Incineroar gets Charmeleon caught in its flamethrower. Charmeleon withstands the blast and begins evolving into Charizard. Now, I love Charizard, but please play the clip of Charizard's roar.
Okay.
Immediately after he evolves.
Yeah, I will say I like the scene. So this is a longer clip. I got about 45 seconds because it's like the whole lead up to him evolving as well. So
You slash again!
Use flamethrower!
Charmeleon!
without seeing the video, this sounds weird.
I was like, what are we watching here, Jeff?
You evolved into a Charizard!
Charizard might evolve, but he hasn't hit puberty yet. The battle between Charizard and Incineroar that follows is really fun to watch. There's lots of flying around and flame throwing.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's this battle or the last one, but there was a point where Incineroar is just holding Charmeleon by the throat and slams him into the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. This time, however, Charizard is victorious over Incineroar. Cross reveals that he once saw Ho-Oh, but Ho-Oh didn't so much as drop a squat on his head like me at Disney World. Cross says that he's just going to crush Ho-Oh and then steals the feather from Ash. He places the rainbow wing on the rainbow rock, but the wing turns black because Cross turned out to be a Nazi. The Marshadow steals it back, so Cross has his Lycanroc attack, but Marshadow's attack causes Lycanroc to fall under Marshadow's spell and attack Cross. When Lycanroc sends an attack towards Cross, Charizard jumps in front of him and takes the blast.
Yeah, and I will say, I'm glad they decided to not go with Charizard not obeying Ash, because then this makes the scene so much better.
Yeah, that was, I like that. That's one of the things I really liked about the movie. Marshadow mind controls all the nearby Pokemon from earlier, who begin to attack Team Ash, meaning that only the Rainbow Hero can save the day, and Ash needs to get the Rainbow Wing. A huge battle ensues where everyone gets a moment to shine. A few of the best moments include Ash and Pikachu parkouring over a Rhyhorn, Cross tackling his Lycanroc when it tries to attack Ash, and then shouting, "Remember!" at Lycanroc until it comes out of its trance. Marshadow attacks Ash and Pikachu, and that's when things start to go south. Cross and Lycanroc step in to take on the attacking Pokemon, but immediately run away when the bunch of Graveler throw boulders towards Team Ash.
Yeah, and not to mention that while Cross is battling with Lycanroc, it is biting down onto his arm. Somehow not drawing any blood, but that would definitely have drawn blood.
They would have gotten more than a G rating if it had blood. Pikachu and Marshadow have an epic battle, but Pikachu loses. Ash picks up Pikachu's body and begins to run away, but they are blasted by the Marshadow-controlled Pokemon. Ash, begging Pikachu to get in its Pokeball, makes one final stand, but as he takes the full force of a blast. In his final moments, he asks Pikachu, why won't it get in its Pokeball? And I'm not joking here. Pikachu speaks, and says, "It's because I always want to be with you." Can we get, I know you probably don't have this ready. When you
I don't have this because you
can
didn't
you
ask.
sorry about that. Can you edit in the sound of Pikachu speaking here? Because I was confused. I thought someone had dosed my Pamplemousse LaCroix when Pikachu started talking.
I will try. I can't make any promises because you did not ask for this one in advance.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, I have no idea what they were thinking making Pikachu talk here. I don't know if they were going with Ash was hallucinating.
He was tripping because of all the blood loss.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely out of left field. And to be fair, Pikachu didn't always want to be with him. He hated Ash when they first met.
Like an hour ago, he didn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
The Pokemon send one last combined blast as Pikachu finally goes in its Pokeball, leaving Ash to be force blasted alone. When Pikachu emerges from the Pokeball, he finds Ash slowly dissolving into the air along with the Rainbow Wing. Pikachu releases an electric shock that awakens all the mind-controlled Pokemon, and then Ash awakens in a colorless world. He can hear Pikachu in a far-off place. Ash runs and runs until he and Pikachu leap into some giant glowing space orb thing, and Ash is brought back to life. Like I said, Zeus. And I can't believe that all of you have spent this entire time laughing at jokes about our Poke Lord and Savior Mon. The Rainbow Wing reappears, and Ash places it on the Rainbow Rock, revealing you guessed it, a rainbow. And the Poke God itself, Ho-Oh, appears.
Yeah. And Ash has a tendency to die and come back to life. This is at least the third time it has happened on this podcast. So it happened in the first movie when he was blasted by Mewtwo. And it also happened in the episode in Lavender Town Tower where Haunter, remember that episode where Haunter literally rips him and Pikachu's souls from their body after a chandelier falls on them?
Not really. That was a long time ago. Was I on that episode?
Yeah, I think you were. Maybe you weren't on that episode. I don't remember.
I feel like I would have remembered their souls being ripped out of their body.
Did you see the battle with Sabrina?
I don't think so.
It might have been before you.
It might have been in the dark days.
The dark days.
On a nearby mountainside, Team Rocket catches a glimpse of Ho-Oh before slipping and falling to their doom, shouting, "It's all downhill from here." It certainly is, Team Rocket. It certainly is. As Ho-Oh lands, Ash immediately challenges it to a battle. Pikachu and Ho-Oh battle at the end of the rainbow like a couple of pissed off leprechauns, but the scene cuts away to Ash and Pikachu at a nearby Pokemon Center, beaten up but happy. Bonji, speaking to the world from the mountaintop, tells the people to keep living because the world will soon be bathed in a rainbow-colored light. See, this is what the Republicans tried to warn us about. As Ash, Verity, and Sorrel part ways, they laugh that once they've achieved their goals, then they can come back for a battle. And as a rainbow stretches across the sky, Ash and Pikachu take off towards it and their next adventure. And that is the end of Pokémon the Movie, I Choose You.
Yes, that is the end of our episode. And what did you think of this episode?
The movie was like a 6 out of 10. There were some things I liked about it. Marshadow is super cool. I had never seen a Marshadow before. I really liked it. I like that they changed Charizard's story instead of like just never listening to Ash. That one was cool. But I don't know. Everything else was pretty undercooked, if you ask me, especially Team Rocket. Like, I think I've said before, like, there is a direct correlation between Team Rocket's story in an episode and how much I like the episode. And there was zero reason for them to be there other than contractual obligations.
Yeah, I think I'm a little higher on you. I think I would go up to a 7 out of 10. As we mentioned before, the animation was gorgeous. I love the animation on that. And it was fun just seeing an alternate version of the story we all know. But some parts I think they could have fleshed out. Did we need the whole Butterfree scene? Because Butterfree isn't a main story. It's just like, oh, this was the first sad part of the story Ash encountered, so let's just include it in here. Charizard, because Charizard's in the battle, so we find him catching Charmander. It would have been cool having little segments where he also met his Squirtle and his Bulbasaur from back in the day. Yeah. So I feel like there was some missing, but overall, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie.
No, there was a lot of fun things in it. We got a lot of we got some good good jokes in about it.
We did get some good jokes, and we all learned how butterflies mate, and I think that's the important thing here.
That's what it's all about.
So going on to our question, if you remember from our previous episodes, we always have a question of the week. And so this week's question, if you could rewatch any movie for the first time again, what movie would you watch? And the reason I'm asking this question is because this is kind of like watching Ash's journey again. So I thought this would be a fun thing to think about on.
Mine would be, if I could rewatch any movie for the first time again, probably The Matrix. Because I think I saw The Matrix for the first time, I was like 11 or 12, so a couple years after it came out, and just ripped my mind apart
Okay.
as an 11-year-old, yeah.
I think I would love to see Home Alone for the first time again. I love that movie. It would probably end up on my list of favorite movies of all time, and just, not
Incredible movie.
not knowing what Harry and Marv are going to get into
Mhm.
before they break into the house. So not knowing all that's coming and just what my reactions would be seeing all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, as a child, I, like, fantasized about people breaking into my house so I could set traps. I used to, like, set booby traps for my sister because of that movie.
And I do want to call out Bray's fan because he did mention saying that Marv said that in Home Alone, kids are stupid. And I will tell you, Braves fan, and Josh can attest, I texted Josh that my answer would be Home Alone like a few days ago. So I'm not even
Yeah.
stealing that from you, just to make that clear. All right. So don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for The Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms, and if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. All right. So please join us next time when we will be watching A Ship Full of Shivers.
You gotta be careful with that one. But we'll see you next time, folks. It's great to be back. Love y'all.